Welcome to Ralph's Flybox. Today we're going to tie a Trico spinner. This isn't something I created. This is just my favorite pattern of a Trico spinner. It seems to be the most productive for me. There's a lot of them out there, just as there are a lot of Tricos. So let's go over how I tie the one-eye fish here. I start out with a size 18 standard dry fly hook and uni-thread rusty dun thread, and I start by getting my thread and making a quick walk back to about the point of the barb, not very much farther, just past the point of the hook. Actually, you don't want to go into the bend of the hook with this. And I take the tying thread and I build a small ball of thread, not too large, just enough, and I bring my thread back to about the midpoint of the shank. Here we're going to tie in our tail. I use medium Pardo CDL, and I don't get too particular about the tail as far as count goes. I take about six fibers and bring my thread up to just behind the ball that we formed. I tie in my tail fibers about shank length, be a little bit more than shank length, and with a pinch wrap up top, and I walk it forward to that ball. What I want to do is I'll pull it tight and I want to flare it. I don't try and split it perfect. I want a little bit of a flare. I don't want it to spin on the hook. I just want to flare it nice at a slight angle upwards. Not too much, but not quite 45, but a little bit of an angle. And then I'm going to trim my butt ends. The reason for that is I want the fly to sit on the hackle, and I want the hook to drop below the surface, and I want this tail to allow the hook to go below the surface enough, and it leaves the body at about a 45-degree angle, about a 30-degree angle in the water. I'm looking for that angle as it sits. And then I'm going to bring my thread forward, form my body, and I bring it just past the halfway point. Next, I'm going to tie in my hackle. I use Silver Badger. And I use a size 16 hackle. Size 18 hook, but for this pattern I use a 16 hackle. I want it just a little bit larger than normal. And bind it in dry fly fashion. And then next, I'm going to dub your thorax. Not a lot of dubbing. A little over an inch, about an inch and a half of just light. I use Orvis Black Spectra blend poly dry fly. And you're going to wrap. You're not going to build it up, you're just going to wrap a slight black thorax. There, you got a little bit too much, just a tad bit too much dubbing. So instead, making it work, we'll take a little bit off there. And next you're going to wind your hackle forward. I don't wind it exactly tight like you would a dry fly collar. I leave a slight gap. Should be able to get 3 or 4 wraps. Take it to the edge of the dubbing and then tie off. And I'll clean up the head a little bit. I caught a little bit of dubbing on my hand. Trapped a few fibers. And I'll push them back a little bit. You're working with a smaller fly. I'll push the collar back just a tad bit before I whip finish so I don't grab any more than intended. And quick whip finish. And then at this point, I'm going to come in, clip the top, clip the bottom. And there you have it. Very basic, easy to tie. Spinner pattern. Only 3 materials. Very functional. Does quite well for me. I grease this fly. But it is my favorite Trico pattern because it's the one that does the best for me. Thank you for watching. I hope it adds to your box.